New allergies. Can you develop new allergies? Well, it seems you probably can. Welcome back to the Amazing Education Station. It's the information you need to know. It's not about the video. You're not usually going to see really amazing video on the channel. So yeah, it's just about listening. And so just so you know. Yeah, now, so allergies, you know, the first time you're exposed to something like poison ivy, the rumor is that you don't react to it. Your body doesn't react to it, and it develops a response over time. And so that the next time you're exposed to it, your body will defend against it. Very similar to viruses and bacterial infections, so like colds and flu. If you're exposed to it, then your body builds up a defense. And so, for example, with poison ivy, maybe the first time the poison ivy oil gets on your body, usually when you're young, perhaps your body doesn't know what to do with it, and it may be a little bit damaging internally. And so the next time, your skin reacts, swells up, and gives you quite a itch, and encourages you to be more careful, number one, but also to remove the oil in any way that you can to keep it out of the body. And the same may be true with other things, maybe even with foods. So I had a cousin who, he was just not allergic to chocolate, but then maybe he had a situation where the chocolate was bad, and caught, you know, something contaminated the chocolate, perhaps. Or who knows, maybe he had a cut, like a cut lip, or perhaps bit his tongue or some other injury in the mouth and had chocolate, and then his body learned to react to chocolate and apparently made his mouth swell up, and so he for some time couldn't eat chocolate. And that would be a tragedy to some people, but it would be a benefit to other people. They might have the opinion, oh well, it's good that I can't eat chocolate, then maybe I will be healthier, maybe even lose some extra size, extra weight for those people who eat chocolate and maybe don't exercise enough. And excuse me, I have allergies right now, which is why I'm doing. If you hear me sniffling, maybe even sneezing, oh boy, allergies. It's allergy season for me. Here's another. These are anecdotal. You notice this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, so this is for educational purposes only. I'm a master educator, and usually I have an IQ over 120. But here's one day I didn't have such a bright IQ. I opened some juice, drank some of it, and left it in my car. My car gets warm in the sun, of course, and so I left the juice in the car. And you know, canned juice, it's going to have citric acid or ascorbic acid. I believe those are two types of vitamin C. And it was, you know, it was like probably a citrus type drink. And so I thought the next day, I'll drink it. And I had it covered up so bugs wouldn't get inside, but it had been open to the air. So now, you might not know this, but microbes, you might call them bacteria, even viruses, of course, and other microscopic animals or organisms or spores, like fungi spores, like, well, mushroom spores, or any type of fungus can have spores that float in the air. They're in the air. They are there, and when you open a can, immediately there will be some kind of microbes. And of course, you have preservatives, and they don't multiply so quickly that, you know, a can of juice is going to make them explode in population within, say, half an hour. But in an hour, it's possible, depending on the type of food or juice or whatever. Now, the type I had with the preservative vitamin C, there's very little chance that anything bad would happen soon. But maybe like a soup broth that's at room temperature. Room temperature is wonderful for growing microbes. And so any food or drink that's been sitting 1 hour or more, you better throw it out. And did I throw out this juice even though it was more than a day old? No, I drank it and then covered it up again, and then a couple days later I think I finished drinking it. So altogether it might have been four days that I took, maybe 5. And then not soon after that, so on the last day of drinking it at night, I started to have a runny nose and a headache, and it might not be connected. So I am not saying that I was allergic to the juicy drink. So not 100%, but you have to be careful. And so, yeah, definitely don't repeat that. Drink whatever you're gonna drink, do it within an hour, even no matter if it has preservatives, ascorbic acid, and whatever, vitamin C. And if you cover it up airtight and put it in the refrigerator, there may be some information on the can that tells you how long it could stay when it's opened. But because you're drinking directly, well, I should say, if you're drinking directly from a bottle or can or container, then you will introduce, either just through direct touching your mouth to the container or through breathing because you're so close, even backwash, like not all the liquid stays in your mouth. Some of it gets back into the container when you're drinking, for example, through a straw. And so your body will introduce a lot of growing animalcules, organisms, microorganisms, bacteria, and other things, not to mention the spores in the air, and they will get into that container. And so it might not last as long as advertised. So just be careful. And of course, if there's any strange taste, any strange smell, if it doesn't look like it did when you first opened it, if it changes color, consistency, or something appears on the top or settling on the bottom, if it looks any way different and it's been more than an hour, even if you've refrigerated it, throw it out. Recycle, reuse, and be good to yourself, because I can't guarantee it, but you could become allergic to the juice or food, whatever it is. It's possible you could develop an allergy if it starts to grow poisonous bacteria. And yeah, I said poisonous, so that's the reason why. So it's called food poisoning. It's more common probably than the flu. So a lot of people think they have what's called a stomach flu. Well, probably 70%, maybe 90%. Do your research. Remember, I'm not a doctor. It's not medical advice. But maybe 70, 90, or 95% of what people think is a stomach flu could actually be food poisoning. And then allergies, who knows what percentage allergies may be sort of sensitivities. So they are allergies, but due to some kind of poisoning situation and not for any other reason, like sort of naturally developing an allergy to some kind of juice, you know. So you could, like I said, if you have a cut in your mouth or something, if you bite the side of your mouth and then you drink some juice, well, maybe you could develop an allergy to it and it would make your mouth swell for some time. Well, here's another one. I would have cherry tomatoes, which are the very small tomatoes. They're tart. And I would have baby carrots and some onion sometime. I would eat onion uncooked, like for example in a sandwich. And I'm not sure, it seemed like any of those would cause the roof of my mouth to swell. And it was very strange. So developing bumps, and it was tingly, sort of prickly, not extreme pain. But I researched baby carrots first because they don't look natural. And, you know, but cherry tomatoes, they look like something you can easily identify growing on a bush. And onions, you know, I wouldn't expect chemicals would be in an onion inside. So now, but cherry tomatoes, they could have pesticides or even food grade wax to have on the outside to keep them from drying out. Well, however, I found that those baby carrots, which you might see in a package with a little bit of water, usually some condensation or water, and just perfectly rounded carrots that are shaved to, well, somehow machined to be exactly alike, so they all look perfectly alike, and you can just eat them. Maybe you should wash them or don't eat them at all. It turns out they use bleach on the manufacturing lines, and I hope they don't use anything worse than that. But so it's probably ammonia bleach. There might even be a bath that they run through, and then it's rinsed off, perhaps. I hope it's rinsed off, because you don't want to eat bleach directly. But if you have a good system, like a strong immune system, it might develop an allergy to baby carrots because of the bleach. You know, it's called caustic. It damages it damages the body, human tissues, and what do they call it? I can't remember the name. But if it's chlorine bleach instead of, I don't know if it's ammonia or chlorine, but if it was chlorine, you might remember during World War I that even troops were attacked by chlorine gas, and the body has quite a reaction to that. So just a tiny amount in processing is good enough to make your body react. And so I will not eat baby carrots. I recommend that you avoid baby carrots. And as I said, even the tomatoes, well, you're not going to peel the skin off the tomatoes. And if somebody uses pesticide on the skin, it could be natural pesticide. Even going organic, unfortunately, doesn't mean that pesticides weren't used, or fungicides or herbicides. Organic just would use naturally sourced chemicals, and so buying organic doesn't guarantee anything. And if it's possible that you would have a worse reaction to organic chemicals compared to manufactured or man-made chemicals. And you know, frankly, everyone's different. It's not medical advice. I'm not a doctor. Do your own research and be careful. Thank you.